This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Hey, it is Tuesday, 10:30. You know what that means. It is First Alert Weather Breakdown time. Thank you very much for joining us here for today. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Right there. That's how you spell it. We're hanging on to a beautiful day here for now, but it's another chance of storms in for the afternoon hours around the ArkLaTex. That's mainly our big story here for this work week. Remember last week, I reiterated this a little bit yesterday on the podcast, but last week we pretty much had nothing but, we had more than just burps. We had we had lots of dry conditions, sunshine, and lots of hot temperatures. I was pretty much nonstop with that all of last week. It's quite weird because now our weather pattern is stagnant with pretty much hot temperatures again, but now it's stagnant with storm chances. It's not just a storm chance going up and down. I think we have storm chances going a little bit on the way upwards over the next couple of days, but overall we have the chance for afternoon storms almost each and every day now, which is going to be really impressive. I will say, even though we have that storm chance with us every day, the rain totals that I've looked at don't look to be too impressive, which is good news because then that doesn't mean we have a big chance of flash flooding really at all. Not only that, I really haven't seen anything severe weather-wise to be concerned with whatsoever, which is also good. So we keep it to general thunderstorms with heavy downpours. We just leave it at that. But these will be active moving storms. If something hits you in the afternoon, hopefully it's just for a brief little bit, and then should roll on by. We still have our mornings completely dry, just today and over the next couple of days as well. But most of the storms are going to be looking to form from the heat of the afternoon, sparked essentially from the heat of the afternoon. So, again, not worried about anything too much severe weather-wise, but unfortunately, rain could put a damper on your plans. I might want to watch out, especially over the next couple of afternoons. Just keep yourself weather aware. Again, we have a radar tab on our First Alert Weather app. I know we'll go over the future track here on this First Alert Weather Breakdown, yes. But if you want to track onto your own time, because I know we're not on 24/7 and can't come at you like a butler can, the First Alert Weather app can come at you like a butler can, essentially, and give you all the weather info you need on the app. I'm just help to explain what's going on with the weather and give you always the top stories and give you someone to talk to, just weather-wise. We're having a conversation here. If you want to talk back with me on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, we have our YouTube chat. YouTube.com, you search in KSLA News 12. The live stream should appear there. I will be on the live stream, but the big difference is, compared to the live stream that's just on KSLA.com, is that you can type in the chat instantly. It's a pretty cool feature. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining us here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Let's get into it here for the day today. I already kind of went over what's going on simply in our forecast. I didn't really touch on what we're doing in the exclusive content, though. So again, we're talking mostly about storm chances over the next couple days. We'll go over into a full in-depth breakdown of our weather forecast here quickly after this. But I do want to talk briefly about our exclusive content here for today. Just so you know how it goes, we always go over our local forecast, we take a commercial break, and then we go over our exclusive topic. So even though we'll have a quick commercial break, don't leave anywhere. We still got more topic. We still got another topic to discuss, and today's is all about the tropics, which is kind of intriguing. We haven't had a named storm here in a while. It's been quiet during the peak of the season. We haven't had too much to discuss with any storms out in there. We'll have more of a thorough look at it coming up in just a little bit. We have more than just the here's our area of interest map. Is there anything coming our way? No, we'll look in depth as to what's going on out there. Why has it been so quiet? And where are some areas of interest expected to go? Again, we're going to have a full breakdown of that in just a little bit. But first, closer to home, in the ArkLaTex itself, let's get out into your world. And boy, is it looking beautiful out there so far. So good. As I'm trying to regain control of my graphics again. I am a one-man band back here. Keep that in mind as I'm trying to move around some different pieces, different parts. There we go. Again, live look out into downtown Shreveport and Bossier there. Beautiful also into Texarkana. Hey, can't complain too much with some sunshine. Although that is, once again, the fuel for the heat today, which will reign supreme once more in for this afternoon. I know some of you out there, especially in my Facebook comments. By the way, Facebook, meteorologist Evan Thomason. I post updates there for weather every single morning. Getting your day started right, what you need to know here for today, what you need to know over the next couple days, just in a quick little social media post for you. Meanwhile, just get back into the forecast of our headlines here for today. Again, little chance of storms around, and overall, that's going to consistently come at you. So even though it might not rain in your vicinity today or in your area today specifically, you have another chance to receive storms here tomorrow. And I think by the end of the work week, well, eventually, rain coverage is going to be spreading to everyone, and it's going to get to everyone, essentially is what I'm getting at, especially with how many rounds of storms you have to dodge and how many rounds of storms you essentially have to get through. Now, for this weekend, things look a little cooler. I really want to stress on the word a little cooler. It's not going to be big. Don't get your hopes up on the refreshment that we had last week. You remember early last week when we had highs in the, upper 70s, lower 80s, I believe, 2 weekends ago? We're not getting down that low. We're not going to have that much of a refreshing morning either, so to speak. So it is cooler. It's better than nothing, but it's only a little bit. That's what I'm trying to get at. Also, do want to mention, watch out for your plans as well this coming Saturday and Sunday. It is not going to look the best around the region. We do have chances for storms again on both days. Here's essentially what's happening in our big picture. I kind of mentioned this briefly yesterday. High pressure system, it is in the process of rapidly weakening. This is what gave us our hot, sunny week last week, and it's still in place here early this week, but now it's quickly weakening and fading off to the south, and that's going to open up the door for the low pressure center from the west to come slowly meandering on in. Look at the time as well. This is around Friday, which the cold front and the low pressure system getting a little closer into the region will start to ramp up the rain chances a little, just a tiny bit more, closer and closer when that cold front comes in on Friday. So essentially Friday, I'm expecting kind of the peak of the rain coverage around the region here for you. But we still have rain chances starting today, leading up into that day. I think you see what I'm getting at. So again, rain chances are going to just tiny but steadily increase here, day in and day out. But overall, we still do hold a little tiny chance for storms even today. Also with that, it is a cold front, so we'll have some slightly cooler air in store. But I must say, it is not looking, I guess, the most impressive, so to speak. And again, that cold front doesn't approach us and really roll over the region at all until Thursday and Friday. Today's Tuesday. So we're still hanging around with hot temperatures. 97 in Texarkana, 95 in Foreman, 95 into DeKalb across East Texas, 94 in Marshall, Carthage, Center, Longview. Lastly, Northwest Louisiana, 95 into Shreveport, 94 in Natchitoches, 93 in Homer. Feels like temperatures today. On top of that, got a little bit of humidity, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Just, when we usually have when we usually have these actual high temperatures in the mid-90s, when you would include like an excessive amount of summer humidity, you would have feels like temperatures in the 105 to 110 range. That would prompt a heat alert. We don't have any heat alerts, thankfully, here for the day today, which essentially means we don't have the most excessive heat or the hottest of hottest days in store for today, along with the past couple of days overall. So that's at least good news, but it is still, again, relatively hot, especially with feels like temperatures getting into the mid to upper 90s. Here is your next 5 days. There's that tiny cool down here for your Friday. We're going to now have 94 here for Wednesday and Thursday, and then temps could dip a little bit around 92 on Friday. So essentially, you're looking at a 3-degree temperature drop, just to get the math together here for you. You're looking at a 3-degree temperature drop in the next 3 days. It's essentially dropping the temperature just by a degree or two each day, which I guess means something. Technically cooler, but point is not by that much at all. So highs by Friday. That's when the kind of the peak of our cooler temperatures hang around. Although I will say temperatures look to be this way even heading into the weekend here for the most part. So I guess I should rephrase that. Once we get down to these highs on Friday, these highs look to stay this way also into your weekend. 92 in Shreveport, 92 in for Texarkana. A couple of us only hanging around in the upper 80s there for Friday afternoon. So again, a little 5-degree temperature drop between now and then. All right, let's look at the skies now and talk rain here because, again, we have these daily afternoon storm chances that we're going to continue to see. We did have a stray little shower that went through Winfield and areas east of Jonesboro, technically just on the eastern border outside of the ArkLaTex. You can even see in the latest loop there that one little stray shower that is now completely fizzled out and dried up as it's tried to move southward towards Winfield. We have nothing physically in the ArkLaTex here right now, but that kind of goes to show you that we do have the moisture available to be able to produce these few storms that are actually going to be forming in the ArkLaTex a little later on this afternoon, and they could be forming anywhere around the region as well. In fact, I'm going to bring out 2 future tracks and go step by step here with you. Both of these updated new for this hour as well. So this will give you the freshest and latest info. Looks like around 5-6 p.m., maybe 1-2 stray showers. This indicates it right around the central portion of the ArkLaTex. And maybe once more on the southern edge of the ArkLaTex here for tonight. But that's mostly it here in the region. So that goes to show you kind of the rain coverage here for today, which I only have a 10% rain chance for today, and that's why. I'm sorry for the select few of you that are going to be dealing with the rain, but most of us look to be remaining dry here actually through Tuesday. Then we get into Wednesday. Looks like a few stray storms could even carry on into Natchitoches here for tomorrow morning before tomorrow afternoon gets a little more numerous, as you see there. In the peak of the afternoon, storms could happen anywhere between Nacogdoches to DeQueen there for the afternoon hours on Wednesday, so those could pop up anywhere. Watch out for that. And that could continue well into the evening hours there, too, before Thursday. We rinse and repeat, essentially, in for that day. And this is a trend, again, that could carry on. Again, that was one future track. This is another future track, essentially just a different model, giving us a different perspective. So same thing here for Tuesday afternoon, just a few chances of some storms. But, again, I'm expecting just a few more numerous storms to essentially happen. We're essentially growing the number of storms that happen each day in the region here as we progress through the rest of this week. So another chance of storms there for your Wednesday afternoon. And then Thursday, I think you understand the pattern here. We're going to continue to see this day in and day out all the way, yes, even into Friday and the weekend coming up. So watch out. So I would describe this forecast. I mentioned this on my social media page. I consider this as a carousel. I like using this carousel forecast, not just for, fun and going off to the park, but essentially we're stuck on a ride where this is pretty much your forecast, not just for today. This is pretty much overall your forecast here over the next several days. The only slight little changes I would add to it is you could maybe make that chance of rain around 30% by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. And I would make the temperatures just a touch cooler as the rain chance just increases just a little bit. So it's only a tiny change to the forecast here between now and, Sunday and Monday of next week. Because, yes, we are still going to continue this little tiny rain chance into the weekend and into early next week, too. So guess what? Like a carousel, you just got to hang on into the ride. And don't forget the rain gear on the way out the door, all right? Umbrellas needed in a just-in-case basis every single day. It's not a necessity, but I don't want you to get under a heavy downpour randomly while you're running errands or anything like that and everything's drenched, so to speak. Again, you're at least not watching out for severe weather with these storms because then it'd be a little more worrisome, but rain is still rain at the end of the day, and that chance for storms still continues on into this coming Saturday and Sunday. If you notice, high temperatures, 93 and 91, so again, lower 90s here expected for this weekend. All right, that was a full look at your local forecast. The 7-day forecast will be coming up after the exclusive content, as you just saw there. I'm going to get into a thorough look onto what's going on with the tropics. Why has it been so quiet, and why is it waking up now? And what are we expecting out of what are we expecting out of the situation evolving in the tropics here recently? We'll talk all about the areas of interest that we have out there and where they might go and how they'll do as well and perform and also strengthen Again, all the details surrounding your first alert eye on the tropics in the Atlantic Ocean are coming up after this. Hey, welcome back to your first alert high on the tropics. On the first start with a breakdown. That's our exclusive content here for today. For those of you brand new, asking what's going on our weather podcast, essentially, again, I kind of described this earlier. Just go over a full look at your local forecast, and then we add something new to it that you can only exclusively get on this podcast. Because guess what? I've barely even talked about tropics on the shows, and honestly, for good reason. Either A, nothing's been happening, and there hasn't been a single area of interest out there whatsoever, or B, we've had an area of interest or a storm that has gathered strength this season, but hasn't really gone anywhere near here. And we haven't had too much to discuss with it, besides just telling people, oh, it isn't going to affect us, and it's most likely, it's not going to move into the Gulf, which is the best news of all. So, and that's been with most storms this season. We've had Barry in the Gulf, but that hit Mexico. To be fair, the remnants from Barry did cause, unfortunately, yes, the central Texas flooding. That's what it's going to be infamous for. But that was a quick system, I will say, in the Gulf. It rapidly ramped up, I think even over a weekend, so we didn't even have really a chance to go over it on the first weather breakdown whatsoever. But the point is, this season has been unusually quiet. To be fair, within the past 2 to 3 days, it started to ramp up a good bit into the picture that we have now. So let's get into the latest on your first alert eye on the tropics, because we don't have a named storm out yet. In fact, we haven't had a named storm in the last 2 to 3 weeks, which is amazingly rare. I think I saw a stat on social media where we haven't seen the conditions this quiet during the peak of the season in decades. It has been wild, and it's kind of strange also because we're supposed to have this above average season this year too. All right, so here's where we are today. We're just past the peak of this graph here, which was September 10th, technically. We're now a week out from that, so now we're getting into the second half of the month of September, but still plenty of time the rest of this month to be able to produce tropical storms. In fact, I like to even say, if I can get rid of my face here so you can see the full graph, usually November is when we extremely start to dry out that tropical activity, but technically hurricane season technically can go into November. Realistically, though, October is kind of the cutout point for the last peak month of the season, so to speak. So still plenty of time. We have essentially another month or so before we really get things going. Before we really get things going. That's not what I meant to say. We have another month or so before things completely shut off, and we essentially have no risk at all from the tropics. But for the next month or so, we'll see what happens. To be fair, if anything was going to hit the ArkLaTex specifically, if we talked about specific tropical impacts for the ArkLaTex, most of those systems would usually have to come in the months of July and August. Beryl hit us, for example, in the first week of July last year. Obviously, that's infamous in our minds. Usually when you get too late in the season, tropical season, it can still form, but most of the storms will be pushed out either to the East Coast or to Florida, mainly because cold fronts will continuously try to essentially knock away the hurricanes from even coming up here in the first place. But let's get into the active situation. I've kind of just rambled on about the timing of the season. So here's the live look at your tropical satellite. I'm going to go ahead and remove myself from the equation here so you can see the full picture here. You see a good amount of convection around, and to be fair, none of these are areas of interest that you see within this picture alone. So anything close to the United States, we've had a little bit of some heavy rainfall on a lingering low-pressure center technically just off the coast, and to be fair, that's what all hurricanes are, is low-pressure systems which form. There's given a little bit of heavy rain to eastern portions of North Carolina and Virginia, but nothing of which is spelled too much doom from tropics at all. A little bit of convection as well in the southeast corner of the Gulf, but that's not really an area of circulation at all. In fact, most of the Gulf Coast itself kind of being protected out by dry air. You can kind of see that on the edge of the satellite right now as we have just a tiny northerly wind, which is keeping all this offshore. But all of our attention for anything tropic-wise to actually become a hurricane and have an area of rotation, and you can start to see something brewing. We have two separate areas of interest. We'll show you exactly that on a graph here in just a second, but this is one, and you can see how massive this is. This is a huge system comparatively. Just came off the coast of Africa a couple days ago. This is our next area of interest, and behind it as well, you see this little area of circulation there as well. So that first area of interest that I showed you is likely to become a tropical system within the next day or two. It's got a 90% chance of forming. The next name on the list is Gabrielle. Now, keep in mind, we'll show you the spaghetti track for where this is going here in just a second because that's already come out, which is essentially the stepping stones to what a forecast cone would be. Although new today, I believe this happened late last night, but new today, we do have a 20% chance of an area of interest with that area of interest behind. Now, historically, I will say, this kind of a setup where we have a little tiny area of interest behind a system that's most likely going to form into a hurricane. These systems, these ones in particular, the one with the yellow X, don't do too well. They either don't form or they become very weak because essentially this system is going to be swallowing up the bulk of the hot air, the hot water, and the bulk of the essentially food for the tropical system to thrive off of. So last thing I want to get to, by the way, this is supposed to be a hurricane. Before I continue this on out, I'm actually going to rewind it. This is expected to potentially be a major hurricane, but watch out to where this is going. Again, this will mainly be forecast moving through its forecast cone. And if you look at it thoroughly, it's looking to move offshore, kind of moving in the same track Aaron did, which is northwest, yes, but the key word is north. It's going to get sucked up northward and too much far northward before even coming anywhere close to the United States. So honestly, this is looking to be, I guess the word I would use is less offshore than Aaron was, farther away from the United States than Aaron was about a month ago. So essentially, what I'm trying to get at is this should not make any impact, despite it most likely turning into a hurricane. It'll be something to look at. That'll be pretty. It'll be something that'll affect boats, maybe the fish. But the point is, that should not affect anybody, let alone us, which is always good news. Always what we want to keep it at here for the time being, all right? All right, so that was a full look into your tropical forecast. Again, it's ramping up, but thankfully, it's ramping up to where it doesn't affect us at all. Not just us, again, in the ArkLaTex, but anybody around the United States as a whole. 7-day forecast here for you. 10% rain chance here for today. It goes up to 20 tomorrow. It goes up to 30 by Friday. So, again, there's just a few more numerous storms around, especially here for the second half of the work week. And some of that, yes, continues into the weekend, even Monday. I do even hold a 30% chance of storms getting into Monday of next week. As for the temperatures, it's not cooling off here in the short term much. 95 down to 92, again, with a span of 3 days. Mornings are going to be staying in the upper 60s, lower 70s. Even that continues into Sunday and Monday morning as well. If you notice on Monday, maybe signs of a maybe more legitimate cool down on the way. 85 for a high temperature on Monday. I'm a little skeptical at that, not going to lie. I will see if that sticks into our forecast as we get closer to the day, but the forecasts are trying to give us maybe a little more of a legitimate cool down with highs in the 80s here for early next week. We'll see. I get why they're doing it. Consistent rainfall, especially, blocking out you more sunlight, but we'll see. And we'll keep you first alert the closer we get to that time frame. That's all I have. Besides that, today is Tuesday, but thank you for watching Tuesday's First Alert Weather Breakdown, edition of First Alert Weather Breakdown. I will be back on tomorrow, Wednesday's episode. Tomorrow, I don't forget where. I actually forget what I was doing for tomorrow. But guess what? Because I forgot to do my homework and forget to tell you what's going on for tomorrow's edition of First Alert Weather Breakdown, I'll leave it to you as a surprise. Everybody likes surprises, right? Trust me, it'll be good. I do have something written down. I just forgot to, and I don't have easy access to, I don't have quick access to know exactly what's on it. But anyways, I'll be back on tomorrow, 10:30. We'll have more details about rain coming up, and we'll see exactly how the forecast alters day in, day out. And obviously, we'll give you the thorough details always on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thank you for watching today. I'll be back on tomorrow, 10:30 on your Wednesday coming up. Join us then. Be there, be square, and most importantly, be weather aware. Have a great rest of your day. And again, just be wary about the little bit of rain showers around, but hopefully no severe weather. Should keep it that way. Should be quiet, mostly just like the tropics is, for the most part. Kind of. At least quiet to us, which is the best news of all. Anyways, talking too much. Have a great rest of your day. Have a fantastic Tuesday. Peace.